Hey everybody, thanks so much for signing up for my webinar here, How to Raise 120K in 30 Days. Now obviously we're going to be jumping into a whole bunch of stuff, so I would definitely recommend go ahead and getting pads of paper or whatever you want to do to take some notes. There will be some stuff to click on, but I don't want to waste too much of your time because time is valuable, right? So let's jump right into how to raise 120K in 30 days. All right, here we go. You ready? So who is this webinar for? This webinar really is for somebody who is a project creator, who's doing crowdfunding or thinking about doing crowdfunding to better enhance their business, their online presence, prove viability for their product, and if you just want to get better at marketing, kind of some things to think about and how to make your campaign take off. So if that's one of you, stick around. This webinar is definitely in your wheelhouse and something that you're going to truly enjoy and benefit from. So over the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to break down, crowdfunding science. We're going to be talking about how do we reverse engineer a successful campaign. We're going to dive into, some tools and techniques that we use. What really works and what doesn't work. And can you not spend money? That's a whole nother question too. And do you need to be present in your campaign video? Quick answer, yeah, you got to be present in that video. So that's what's coming up. This brief insight is what's coming up over the next 45 minutes or so. So what do you need to know to build a respectable campaign that you're going to be proud of? Can we take the guesswork out of it? So many times when I'm doing my my crowdfunding calls, I get people that just don't know. They're so concerned about how their campaign looks, and what we're finding out is that they're just not putting their time and effort into the right things, right? So can we fix that by being better at what we're working on here? I mean, that's really ultimately what we're trying to get. How do you getting into things that will truly work? So what are the rules for today's webinar? Yeah, I know we're gonna have to have some rules, right? First rule: this is not about overnight success. I know, taggy. We have a flashy subject line. Just imagine to raise 120K in 30 days. Problem is that it's going to take some time to set that up. 30 days, that's usually what we would like to do for a crowdfunding campaign. So it does take some time. So if you think that this is going to happen quickly, just right overnight, it's just not going to work. So number one. Number two, if you don't have a project, you at least need to have an idea, right? You got to have at least something. You can't be sitting here saying, I just want the money. Not going to work. And I'll tell you on the last one, this is probably the most important one. If you must be passionate about what you're doing. And if you're not, stop right now. Don't go any farther. You've got to really enjoy crowdfunding. You've got to really enjoy your business. You've got to want this. So why do I do crowdfunding? I get this question actually quite a bit. Why am I doing what I do? Well, this is a picture of me back in 2007. As you can see, I had the rock and roll dream. I had the rock and roll stardom and had some success with it. And ultimately, back around 2005, 2006, at the height of MySpace, I actually stumbled upon crowdfunding and didn't realize it. There was no such term as it. But what I did was I actually went and got a P.O. box, and I set it up, and I had people send me 4 quarters in the mail, and I would send you over 60 songs that I wrote as the Sugar People. And I ended up doing over $6,000 in this campaign, all through a P.O. box, 4 quarters, and MySpace. So I had no idea what I was really doing, but this was, to me, the first time I've done crowdfunding. Here's a picture of me actually back in the day, and there's going to be a video. I'm going to play this video here of a video we made back in the day showing people writing me letters and participating.
Don't know what Jones is going to do for us. Handwritten. $1. I'm totally looking forward to hearing more music from you, Love Always. Knowing that there is somebody out there who is seeing what you're doing and appreciating it on whatever level it is. That's the real gift,
So that's what crowdfunding is to me. It's we're in a position right now where I don't see traditional lending as an option for quite a lot of people right now. Banks aren't going to talk to you. VC and venture capital money or angels. Bit of a challenge. And, putting it on credit cards, not a good idea as well. If you think about crowdfunding outside of just the money, think about it as proving viability for your product. Does the crowd and the public want this product? And that will allow you to not go out and get a $500,000 loan or put your house on the line. It really will help you prove. If a crowd wants it, that means you can scale up. So have you ever felt this way? And I'm sure some of you out there have felt this. You want to know who you should trust. Hopefully you're watching this webinar and you're getting a vibe from me that I'm a trustful guy. I literally do this day in and day out. I'm deep diving into as much as I humanly possibly can about crowdfunding. You're probably feeling like, I don't think my project's right for crowdfunding, or I don't like asking for money. That's another big one. And you just don't, you're confused with all the crowdfunding tips and tutorials. There's so much stuff out there, right? But here's ultimately the biggest problem that I now have seen over doing 2.5 years of calls, giving all my advice out on the podcast, everything. This is what I keep seeing is the real problem. People think you need to build a campaign page, start your marketing, and then you'll get a funded project. And this is fundamentally wrong. You have to start marketing today. You have to start marketing right now your product, then launch the campaign. People have this backwards all the time. So who am I? Right? You might be asking that. You might came to this webinar and don't really know who I am. And this is not about me bragging on any level. But my name is Jeff Fuzzy Wenzel. I got the nickname Fuzzy back in the day when I had a lot more hair. And I'm the CEO and co-founder of Woodshed Agency, which we specialize in crowdfunding consulting. But I formed a company called Groovebox Studios and Sugar People Publishing in the music business. And ultimately, inside of those two businesses, had a ton of great success in the music business, which, if you can sell music in today's landscape, you're doing something right. So I've helped projects like The Fine, Wrecking Crew, and Cream reach their funding goals. I've also worked with companies like Best Buy and Volkswagen, Under the Radar, and the NFL. And I've helped over 300 projects get funded. So not to be braggy, but this is what I do day in and day out. This is actually how I support my family. But it definitely wasn't always this way. Here, let's watch a quick video of me grinding it out. Yep. How about that video? So, I was a busboy. What can I say? You have to do what you got to do, right? But being in that restaurant business taught me a whole bunch too about working with the public and getting people to give you money. So all of this for me changed when there was a chance meeting back around 2009. My partner and I, Mr. Sean Neal, and I had a chance to meet Perry Chen from Kickstarter while he was here in Detroit. And at that time, he told us, hey, there's this cool thing that I'm building called Kickstarter. You guys are going to really dig it. And he actually helped us set up a model that we found to be as successful as we could back in 2010. This is the very early stages of Kickstarter. And we actually had a project on there within about a couple months, and ultimately ended up running over 100 campaigns on Kickstarter in the music business. So, Perry helped us out a ton, and this is why we do all this stuff here. So now, another thing that's been happening is I'm getting emails similar to this, and this is an actual email. I just blocked out a little bit of the data here just to keep it somewhat private. But I'm getting emails of people investing $5,000 or more with companies. Yep. And they're just not getting anything. So for me, crowdfunding is a huge, important thing to keep happening in today's world. For businesses, for small businesses, people like myself, for me to continue, I need people not stealing money from other people, flat out. So that's why we've created the webinar. That's why we've created the podcast, so that you're getting the best information, and hopefully you're getting, again, the vibe that what I'm saying, man, it's the truth. And I'm hoping that you guys are getting that vibe. I don't want emails like this coming in anymore. They bum me out, and it does not do well for small businesses, and it doesn't do well for people in crowdfunding. So, we ready to dive into it? Hopefully I set the stage. We got all the info out there. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first off, there are 4 phases to a successful campaign. That's right, 4. There's going to be housekeeping. That's getting your house in order, meaning all of your social media, all your online world. Second phase is going to be your pre-marketing strategy. Third phase is an actual launched product, launch campaign, I should say. What does that look like? And then fourth is fulfillment. So those are the 4 stages. We're going to quickly kind of jump through those. Let's go ahead and jump right into housekeeping. So what does housekeeping mean? Housekeeping is that, and I know this is going to seem so simple, but I see this mistake time and time again. You have to imagine that there's a front door for your world, and there's 100 of them now. There's a bunch of different platforms. You need to be on every platform, or at least most of them. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I don't need you to have a huge following on each one of them, but you need to at least be there. And when I say be there, that means the bio is the same on all of them. Your photo is the same on all of them. If there's a call to action, it's all lined up correctly. We see this time and time again that somebody has just forgotten about Twitter, or they just forgot about their Facebook personal page, or whatever it might be. All of this needs to be cohesive. You don't know where somebody's front door is. They might have found you on YouTube. They might have found you on a podcast. They might have found you, through a blog post. Whatever it is, you need to have your ducks in a row on all of the different platforms. And that's really the start of it. The next thing is we look at expanding your audience. So this is, how do you start thinking outside of what you're looking at? And this is a great exercise that if you want more info on it, I can obviously send it to you. But, we want to look at what you're spending your money on. We want to look at your subcultures. Here I actually put up, this is one I've done. These are my subcultures. And we want you to list, accounts that you're looking at. What are you looking at on Twitter, Instagram, podcasts, websites? That'll tell us how we can start looking for more people like yourself. So that's an early task we like to assign, and I think this is a great thing to just do for your company and for each one of your employees or whoever works with you, or however your company is set up. Have you guys all do this, because this will help you find your audience. Here's 10 things you got to do before your launch. We're not going to go through each one of them because you can see it on the page here, but flat out, we're going to start with number 1. Your project must be great. I can't stress this enough. If your project doesn't have that it factor, it's going to be an uphill battle. You're going to be spending a lot more money on marketing. You're not going to have the stories that people want to sink their teeth into. So really look at, is your product great? Does it really help somebody? Does it solve a major problem? Think about it. Number 2, I think this is another one. You really need a team of people. Whether you hire an agency or you've got somebody around you, you need somebody to bounce your ideas and your conversations off of. Trying to do it alone, very challenging. I think there's a stat, too, that if you have more than 4 people working on your campaign, you have something like a 60% shot of funding. So, got to build a team. Number 4, your project must be viable. We see this quite a bit, too, where if you just look at it, it just doesn't make sense. It's just not a business that's going to work for crowdfunding and probably not work in general. So you might want to stop now. Number 7 is another one. You need to build an audience. If you don't, nothing's going to happen. I know this is going to sound incredibly silly, but it's called crowdfunding. What does that really mean? It means you need to have a crowd of people, an audience. So think about these things here as you're jumping into it. So, if you want more of these 10 things to do, just shoot me an email. I'll email you this slide, and you can have access to it. Another thing I think everybody should think about is finding your purpose worth backing. There's 2 things that you should go watch right now. Not right now, after the webinar. Go watch Simon Sinek's TED Talk, and go watch Amanda Palmer's TED Talk as well. Both of those really break down crowdfunding, the mindset, how to be approaching it, how to maybe get through some of the roadblocks that you might have in your mind. Great TED Talks. I strongly recommend going and checking those out. But deep down, what I'm asking here is, when you're finding your purpose, is why should somebody give you money? Really think about that. You're asking somebody for money, right? Next one, too, is crafting your story. Even if you have a campaign that's active and it's struggling, sometimes it comes down to this story. Why are you doing this? And if your story is, well, I've been working for a year on this product, it's just taken up so much of my time and energy, that story's not going to cut it. Everybody's doing that. Every entrepreneur is doing that. I'm doing it right now. You're not really, I'm not into it. So we really got to find why something is exciting. Why, and that's where it comes down to, why should somebody get behind you and support what you're working on? And if you can prove that your story is good and it's helping not even save the world, but just helping, then that's going to be a huge, huge thing. We kind of went over team members again, but I can't stress it enough. You need solid team members. You know, very rarely will a project creator have all the skill sets, right? Very, very rarely. So find those team members, get more people involved. It helps tremendously. Let's look at the 3 funding scenarios that you should plan for. No, scenario 1, you don't reach your funding goal. That's a Number 2 is you barely reach your funding goal. That means you just get across the line. And number 3 is you wildly surpass your funding goal. There's nothing else. These are the scenarios that you should be planning for or be thinking about right now for your campaign. So another thing I ask all my people to do in this sort of housekeeping phase is to audit your market. I write off people when they say this one thing to me. When they say to me, there's nobody else doing what I'm doing right now. I'm the only one in the world who's doing it. I instantly write you off. You're not serious. You haven't done your homework. There is always somebody else doing what you're doing. There's always a competitor. Every single time. I've never seen an idea that hasn't existed. And I've had to learn this lesson. I thought I was that far ahead of the curve. I wasn't. So a good example is to go out and audit your market. And then I also put in here a SWOT analysis that we like to do. I think if you don't know SWOT, SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, another opportunity to put this out there and be real about what you're working on. You need a great landing page. You just got to get a great landing page. Landing pages are where it's at right now. You don't need a full 10-page, huge, gigantic website. You need a strong landing page and the ability to A/B test. We use Lead Pages. We use Squarespace. Whatever tool you want to use, Instapage, it doesn't matter. But a strong landing page where people can instantly sign up and give you an email address and learn more. Like I said, here's a couple companies you can look at. So this kind of rounds out our housekeeping mindset to be in, right? You're getting your house in order before you jump into crowdfunding. So let's jump into number 2. Let's jump into pre-marketing. This is the big one here, pre-marketing, right? We got to get the crowd going. So everything that we try to do here at Woodshed is how do we get to emails? Emails blow every other conversion rate out of the window. So we're trying to get email addresses from people. And when we get those email addresses, we're going to be trying to run Facebook ads against that data as well. So emails. This is what we're trying to go after. So and you really need to have a strategy too. Once you get an email address, how do you reach out to those people? And I'm going to lay that out right here. So once we have that landing page and we're running some ads to get people to that landing page, kind of some awareness ads. Once we get somebody to sign up, we built this email sequence that works really, really, really well. And it starts with a welcome email. It follows up with some sort of video showcasing the product or the idea. And then we have our third email is an about us, some sort of about me. Hey, a little storytelling. But email 4 is the big one. That's our survey. We like to send people to surveys, and we like to ask them, are you going to be backing this product? Are you, what do you like? What do you not like? From there, we take that data and we put people into new buckets based off of what they say here. Email 5, sometimes we'll run a thunderclap, which you guys, if you don't know what that is, Google thunderclap and check that out. We might run something like that. So that email changes up and down. And then sometimes we'll have a 6th email. So again, depending on how they answer for, that's when people go into different buckets. They might need to be sold to more, or they're ready to back right now. But you'll get that data when you ask for it. So that's how our pre-funnel looks that we build for people behind the scenes. Next up, we need to look at our circle of influence. A lot of times, people tell me, I have nobody, and I have to stop them there and go, that's a lie. You do. Everybody knows 100 people. Go out and talk to them. However you got to talk to them, whether it's an email, a phone call, write them a letter. I don't know. However you got to get to them, you got to get to these people. Those people will have an influence. Ask them to share. Talk to them. Make a list. We also use a term, our 3 Fs: fools, friends, and family. You need to get 100 of those people. What does that mean? Well, friends. We need 100. You need some friends, 20, 30 people there. 20 or 30 family members, and then the fools, the people who give you email addresses that sign up, that tell you that they're going to back this. That's how you can build, a solid first day of your campaign. Then you might want to break down your mailing list calculation and this will determine kind of when you're ready to launch. And to break this down as simple as possible, what we're looking at is what's your average pledge? Is it $100? Kickstarter average is usually around $25. So if your average is $100 and your project goal is to raise $100,000, then you need a 3% conversion rate on your email address to roughly hit about 30% of your goal. So that means you would need over 4,000 people on your mailing list. Yeah, it's scary numbers. But that's what you've got to be thinking in terms of some of this data to get you that strong first day. Now, something I skipped over a little bit is one of the big data points is we need 30% of your goal in the very first week of your campaign. That gives you about a 90% success rate on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I know that's wild. So the way I tell clients is think about this. You need to be bringing 30% of that goal that you want to the table in the first couple days of the campaign. How are you doing that? That's the crowd you need to be bringing to the table. To get that crowd, here's 10 daily actions you can think about. And again, I'm not going to go through all these. You're more than welcome to screenshot this or shoot me an email and I'll send you this slide. But go out today, right now, and connect with 2 people in your industry. If you got a food product, well, connect 2 people in your industry. That's a great way for people to recognize you, know who you are. Go help a stranger. Build a list where you get 1 person a day talking about your stuff. That if you did that for 2 months, there's 60 people. Write a thank you note. All this sort of stuff puts you at the front and center of somebody's mind in today's world. Number 1's a great one. Everybody wants to write a blog where they just talk about themselves. Write a blog that you just teach something. Go read the Woodshed blogs. Most of them are me teaching something or getting you something to think about. So these are 10 daily actions that you can be doing right now that don't cost anything that will have an impact. Next up in our pre-marketing is we want to really look at lead magnets. Lead magnets, and these are for raffles or giveaways. So we want to find a way to encourage or entice somebody to give us data, an email address or whatever it might be, and we'll give them something for free. This could be 10 books on self-help because you're working on a journal. It could be an iPad or an Apple Watch because you've got a product that's going to be an accessory to an Apple Watch, right? So what we want to do is you want to work this angle where you're not giving away something that isn't related to your industry that's going to turn into backers. So a lot of people are like, oh, I want to give away an iPad. Yeah, but everybody wants to win an iPad. That doesn't mean that they're going to be into your jacket or your clothing line or whatever it is. So you really want to find a magnet that's inside of your, in your vertical, what your product is, and do a giveaway. If you're doing paper crafts, give away a hot glue gun or something. You got to find a way to, and then once you have that data, you can then say, hey, sorry you didn't win. We gave away one. Here's the winner. But I'd love to kind of keep you in the loop on what we're working on, and then you send emails. But you get that data. Another thing to look at is Medium.com. Now, if you're looking at, if you are a writer, a great opportunity is to use Medium for your blog. And we usually ask our clients to write between 2 or 3 blog posts and have a content upgrade in there. And everybody, what does that mean? So an example would be, you wrote a blog about drum triggers, because that's your product, and you gave away a free instructional video on how to keep time better, as a PDF. So you write this beautiful piece on Medium, you drive some traffic to it with some Facebook ads, or there's a tool called Q.co, and that's Q with 3 U's.co. You can email me that if you're a little unsure about that. That's an opportunity to send some traffic over to Medium, and see if you can't get a bunch of people to sign up with your content upgrade. So that's a great hack. We'll do some Reddit ads to Medium. So Medium also has organic traffic. So again, write a great piece. Write a teachable type of content piece, and see if you can't get people to engage with it over on Medium. So it's a great hack. You just have to put some sort of content upgrade on a good post. Next thing to look at is promoting on forums. You can go on Google right now and just type in, like I did right here, Entrepreneur Forum, and see if you can't find forums that are having discussions. And that's a great opportunity for you to go in and join the conversation. So if, again, take your product, women's shoes, forums, and jump in. Start talking about what you're working on. Don't start selling them right away. Just join the conversations. Meet people. Talk about what you're working on. Ask questions. And at some point, after you've established yourself in some of these forums, then you'll have an opportunity to say, hey, I'm actually getting ready to launch a Kickstarter. And, hey, what do you guys think about this? Get some feedback from it. So, again, you've got to be a social person. I think that's the thing. I haven't really hit on it that much, but you need to be a social person to have success in crowdfunding. I mentioned a second ago, but here, promoting on Reddit. Reddit is very picky. Everyone's got their own rules. All the subreddits and the moderators have their own rules. But you want to go and find subreddits that are active and drop your ads in them. See if you can get people excited there. There's a bunch of traffic that are communities that live on Reddit, I should say. And this is a great opportunity to drop ads in there and drive people from Reddit to your landing page or to your article, your giveaway article, or to your Kickstarter at some point. So Reddit, very, very powerful if done correctly. And then we get into Facebook. Facebook. Now, just like the forums, you can also go there and find groups inside of Facebook. And again, you want to join these groups early in this process and feel them out. Be a human being, comment on some stuff, answer questions, share articles that aren't yours, right? Don't be a spammer in there. And then at some point you'll have the ability to say, hey, I'm working on this, right? You can't go into these things and just start selling. They'll kick you out instantly. But Facebook groups, huge amounts of people are using these things, tons of traffic. And if you go and you find the groups around your project or product, you'll find people that would be interested in what you're working on. So Facebook ads. I could go on and on about Facebook ads. But in general, what we want to try to do is we want to try to create ads and drive them to interest groups to get people to sign up or give you an email address. So this is where if we create that giveaway that we think is going to be, a Tim, let's just say a self-help book. So we're going to target Tim Ferriss and we're going to find $1,000 worth of self-help books and guides. We're going to want to run ads to that, and we're going to try to get as many signups as possible. We want to look at our conversion. So if you see, here's 4 set of ads we ran. We had 171 website clicks. It reached just under 20,000 people. It cost us $92. It's a lot of clicks that we sent to a website. And from that point on, we can look to see what our conversion rate is on that landing page. So again, based on the landing page, hopefully we're seeing a conversion rate of 20 to 30%. And that's a lot of signups that people are interested, that are probably going to be interested in your product. So Facebook ads, this is the best way to think about it for right now. We could get into a whole bunch of other strategies, but I'm going to save that for another conversation down the road, because I could literally be here all day. We're not going to get into that 45-minute mark. Yeah, I'm just showing you some of the results here so you can see what we spent. And again, this is a good example of a type of ad. Ultimate productivity bundle giveaway. Get over 1,000 of gadgets, softwares, and books. The bundle includes the best productivity resources. And then there's a picture of Tim Ferriss, so that you can go and target Tim Ferriss's audience. People who like him. I'm a guy that likes him. You see him. It's instantly recognizable. It's got the logo for the company. So this is a great ad that you saw previously, and I can go back to it real quick. Let me just go back to one here. Low cost per result, and didn't spend a ton of money, but we drove a lot of traffic over to a website. So those are Facebook ads. So we quickly went through some strategies that won't cost much money, but I think what you saw was the overall theme here is you've got to be social, and you've got to be active, and you have to think like a detective a little bit. You've got to go and research and find the forums and the subreddits and join in the conversation. You can't be afraid of it. And if you don't do that, it's not going to work for crowdfunding. So go be social. So let's break down number 3 here. Let's jump into this one. Our campaign launch. Dun, 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 dun. So we want to launch a campaign. First thing we think about is our funding goal. We think about it maybe a little bit differently, but we're looking for the least viable goal here. That's to have the most success. What is the least amount of money that you need to be able to at least produce the bare minimum of what you say you're going to do? So if it's a board game, hey, and $7,500 gets you the bare bones. This is all we really need to do. Reason number 1 you want to do this. You'll save money, and a lot of it. You won't have to run as many ads. You have an opportunity to upsell. And reason number 2, people prefer winners. So you'll hit that funding goal sooner, which gives you an opportunity to go into the overfunding, and it now allows you to jump into what we call stretch goals. So this is why stretch goals are so critical. If you do your funding goal correct on the last part that I just talked about, that the least viable goal, least viable amount, you can now add stretch goals. Well, what are stretch goals? I've got a great blog on it. If you go to our website, type in stretch goals in the search, it'll pop right up. But stretch goals are all about encouraging people to give more money, getting backers to go from a $25 backer to a $50 backer. So we want to jump into stretch goals. We want to think about them through and through. We want to make sure we can execute everything. Word of warning, and in the board game world, we see this quite a bit where they might actually get over their heads a little bit on stretch goals that they can't produce X, Y, and Z for that dollar amount. So you have to be cautious about them. But if you go and you look at successful campaigns like your company, like a product in the vein of what you're working on, you'll see how they did stretch goals. Stretch goals are very, very crucial to a successful campaign. So we also want to entertain your email sign up. So I kind of skipped over this a little bit, but this is the time right before that we launch it. We want to go ahead and start sending a little bit more content to the email people that have signed up. What I like to do is I like to create a 3-video launch sequence leading up to the Kickstarter campaign. Each video, again, I just say 6-7 minutes, but they're longer teach pieces. They're principles of success. And we want these to complement your project, right? So right now what we're doing is we've got these people signed up. Maybe they haven't heard from you in a month. We want to find a way that we're entertaining them now. Giving them some content, letting them dive into your product. We're teasing them before they have an opportunity to buy through your Kickstarter campaign or to become a backer. So, this is where you want to find a cool way to entertain your email. So, mind you too, I've got some reward ideas for you. Rewards, we're not going to dive into them a big time, but you got to have rewards in 3 different tiers. I'm just going to break them down here real quick because I don't have a slide for it, but you need a tier around $25 or a reward around $25 at that tier. Then you should be looking at something around $100, and then definitely needs a higher reward tiers, $2,000 and up. Can somebody learn can you teach somebody something? Some sort of way to engage people more, than just pre-sale. And if you need some ideas, shoot me an email, and I've got a great list of about 96 of them I can send you that I'm sure you won't be thinking of, but I can definitely send that to you. And I'll put up a link here in the webinar for you to, if you want to just download it from here as well. So next, we've got early bird options, something to think about as well. Can you offer a special discount to the people that signed up? Give them 10% off. If they back on the first day, they get 20% off. You can also look at a tiered early bird where, like I was just saying, single early bird might be a special price if you back on day one. A tiered is, hey, we've only got this amount. We've got 20 copies of the book at $50. We've got 10 copies at $40, whatever it might be. So you tier out your early bird so that you're hopefully moving product early before the campaign really gets going. You're getting that momentum right away. And then you can also look at a timed one. Hey, the first week, this is our price point, but after week 1, we're going to be changing the price. So again, we're incentivizing to get people to pay as soon as possible. So Kickstarter around December came up with 3 new features. Reward scheduling, which is awesome. That means you can announce a reward, that comes out in week 3. Kickstarter Live. So you can, if you're a board game guy, play your game with Facebook Live, right? Schedule it. Treat it like an event. Tell everybody to show up at 3 o'clock on Wednesday because you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. And then also we have referral tags. Referral tags are a lifesaver for a guy like me. This allows me to go and search what's working in marketing. So I'll have a referral tag for Instagram, Facebook, my emails I send out, email 1, email 2. Each one will have its own tag. So I can look back and say, this email garnered us X amount of dollars. So very important. So cool new things that Kickstarter just launched. Up next, backer updates. Crucial. We try to do minimum an update every 2 days, and as we get closer to the campaign, we might even do a couple more. So backer updates are a great opportunity for you to show the success, what's going on. You can thank the early backers, make a PDF document or a JPEG and put their names on it. Treat these people like they're gold. They just gave you money for a product that doesn't exist. So entertain them. So, I just put an example up here, but find a way through the project updates to be entertaining and get people going. So then we get into fulfillment. I'm not going to dive too much into fulfillment because fulfillment is based on your whatever you worked on, right? But this is just some general thoughts on it. It's so important to take a breath after the campaign for yourself. Take a couple days, just relax. You had probably a crazy 30 days running a campaign, or even longer maybe. Hopefully you only ran 30 days. But once you're into fulfillment, it's important that the communications stay frequent and stay up to date and stay real. If you get into a problem, hey, it's going to take us our shipment from China got stuck on a boat for 2 months. Just tell everybody. Don't hide it. Don't pretend. Don't do anything. Just, hey, this is what it is. So I think that's crucial to know too. And then be timely. If you say you're going to be delivering this in November, deliver it in November. So think about fulfillment. Keep your communication up and go for it. These guys, these are some examples of some campaigns that we just finished up not too long ago. And, they're all in fulfillment stage right now where they're delivering the rewards to people. But yeah, it's really, really crucial that you're just these people. These are your customers. Keep updating them. Let them know what's going on, and treat them with a ton of respect. So, now what happens if the campaign fails? Don't be mad. We see campaigns fail all the time. Literally, you have about a 60% shot of failing. So, if you fail, don't worry about it. Take a deep breath. Refocus, do a little bit more research, see why, see if you can dive into why it failed. Is it the idea? Is it the marketing? Did people just not get it? Was the campaign page built incorrectly? Did the rewards not make sense? Did you just not spend enough in ads? Where were the crinks in the armor? And get back on the horse. There's so many examples of campaigns that have failed that come back. Look at I'll have a podcast interview coming up shortly where a guy made a deck of cards and he's openly said, hey, I just didn't do it right in the first time. Got back on the horse and eventually I hit I think he said he funded in the first day, second time around, and now he's into overfunding. So it happens. Don't be mad if you fail. It's there's no shame in it. All right, the reality is let's move in a bit of a different direction. The reality is, man, I can't cover everything that you need in one hour webinar or however long. Even if I had all day, I couldn't cover it all. I mean, things are changing constantly for us, and you might even be feeling a little overwhelmed with all the stuff I just talked about. And honestly, I'm just being truthful. I've only scratched the surface. So, it's just what the reality is, right? Now, if you want to keep this thing going, I've got something I'm going to offer you here that I know will help because it allows me to do what I just did here on this webinar and expand it even deeper. We get into Instagram strategies, Twitter strategies. And if you pick it up right now, you're going to get an even special offer with it. So why do I do all this stuff? It's because I'm listening to you guys. I'm listening to crowdfunders. On the podcast, we've done over 80 episodes of people who have been successful. And they're feeding me information about what's working. So this is the absolute most up-to-date information. You can go on Google right now and search for crowdfunding tips, techniques, and you're going to find a ton of them. And some of them are going to hide the dates of when they wrote that content, right? They're going to put on there, oh, yeah, this is up to date. And you might finally realized that they wrote that in 2013. The internet changes constantly. There's new Facebook, rules and algorithms and techniques to use. That's why we do this. That's why you engage with a guy like me, because it's my job to stay up to date on all this information and not let anything slip through the cracks. So flat out, you've got two options. If you've gotten this far in the webinar, there's just two options. Number one is you can continue to go to loan, spend tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of hours and dollars just trying to figure out all this stuff, trying to get to what I've been doing for the last 7 years. And you're going to be so frustrated. I hear it all the time. If there was a way for me to let you guys hear the over 50 calls I take a week from project creators failing, you would understand this option. I can't stress it enough. But an option two, this is the better one. You could learn from somebody like me. I'm willing to put it out there. Have I mastered it? I'm all right at it. I'm pretty good. I got a pretty good track record. But it's constantly changing, and I can't stress that enough. I mean, just think about how many things you see new just on your Facebook app. If you have a Facebook app and you see a change happen to it, that means there's a gigantic change going on behind the scenes for marketing and changes. But I'm going to go back to an earlier slide. This is not for you if you are looking to get rich quick. And number two, you are expecting results without effort. Everything I just mentioned takes effort. I can't help you if you're not going to help yourself, flat out. But the real question is it worth gambling a few minutes of your time that you check this out, even if it does half of what I just claimed? What do you guys think? You've gone this far. You've spent probably 40 some odd minutes with me. You've probably even seen more ads from me to even get to this point. You might have gotten an email from me. Is it worth going a little bit deeper? So for me, I had two options, right? So you had your two options. I had my two options. My first option was to go as cheap as possible and just, hey, for $19, I'm going to teach you crowdfunding. Not a reality. Number two required a little bit higher investment, and this is what I went for. The second option, and I know, hold on to your horses here, but if you're still with me, the second option is where I went with in terms of building a product. A question that I ask a lot of my phone calls are what's one new backer worth to you? What is that worth? That person could become, they could become so many things. They could become a salesperson to you. They could be telling more and more people about how cool your thing is. And that could come from being a backer. And last, there's three types of people. This is what I have found in my 37 years of life, is that there's people who, those who make things happen, there's those who watch things happen, and there are those are wondering what just happened. And my question is a lot of times is, which one are you? I'll tell you who I am. I make things happen. I never take no for an answer. I keep grinding it out. And I hope that's what you are. If you want to make things happen, then I've got a solution for you. It is my crowdfunding success roadmap. Yep, we made a roadmap. And we took what we just did on this webinar here and expanded it into over 10 gigs of content, 47 walkthrough videos, over 300 press contacts, and this is the big one. This is the big secret. You get me 24/7, me and my team. You have access to us through a special group to ask us questions if you're struggling on something. And the price, $149.97. That's right. That's it. One price. That gets you the roadmap that we use for all of our clients, that walks you through step by step. We touched on them. Housekeeping. I'm going to tell you there's more. Pre-marketing, there's a lot more. We didn't even break the surface on Instagram and strategies, automation strategies, tools to use to make your email sequences go out better, landing pages. We scratched the surface on all this stuff. But in our roadmap, we break it all down for you. Literally, it's me walking and holding your hand through each and every step and putting you on a path to really kick ass in crowdfunding and get your project the funding that you need. So yeah, that's what we're offering here. So if you've gotten to this part of the webinar, I'm really giddy. I hope you take me up on my offer here, because we'd love to have you in the group. We'd love to chat with you. We'd love to learn about your project. We'd love to be there for you. We'd love to be on the other side of this. And frankly, flat out, Woodshed, and my history is that if we can build a crowd, it will equal money for you. Flat out. No bones about it. I've got more and more examples I can show you if you're still a little unsure. So, if you want to know exactly what to do and when to do it, this is the time to start my course right now. Even if you don't have any fans, if you're at 0 right now, if you buy the roadmap, we will get you from 0 fans to as many fans as you can possibly bring on board, if you want to. And I'm excited. I hope you guys want to start the course now. If you do, I'm going to put buttons up here for the webinar. Click on those. It'll send you to the page to buy as soon as you make the purchase of the roadmap, which I'll put up here right now. I'll leave this up for the next 5-10 minutes or so. But if you make that purchase, you're going to get an email from me. We're going to get you signed up into our. We use Slack as our channel for communication, and you're going to be getting, videos as we update them. You're going to be getting, again, like I said, the ability to ask maybe Sean a question on video, and also you're going to get special discount prices if there's something that you might be struggling with. So I'll give you a great example of this. We had a client who brought us on board, who purchased the roadmap, and just couldn't knock out the video. The video was just really bad. And it wasn't for the lack of trying. You just don't jump into video. So what we did was we offered him a incredibly great discount because he's part of our roadmap crew here. And he ended up sending the footage to Sean, who's our video editor here. And Sean put together an unbelievable video that's currently up on a project right now getting funded. So that's the sort of stuff that you're going to be also having access to if you join our roadmap plan here. And man, I thank you guys so much for putting up with some time with me. I hope you guys learned a ton. I hope I got you guys in the right headspace to jump into crowdfunding and have success with it. And I look forward to you guys purchasing the roadmap and joining our crew over there of people who have made these purchases. And yeah, all right. Thanks so much for your time. And I look forward to seeing you inside of the Woodshed Agency roadmap.